Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I am very pleased to have with me Christiane Schroeter. I think I butchered that. I'm so sorry. Say your last name.
It's Schroeter.
Schroeter. Okay.
Beautiful.
So let me tell you about Christiane. She is a business and wellness coach, professor, and best-selling author who helps entrepreneurs achieve big results through small, strategic actions. With a PhD in health economics, she is a professor of marketing, innovation, and entrepreneurship at a top-ranked U.S. university, earning national and international recognition for her work. As the host of her top 1% globally ranked Happy, Healthy, Hustle podcast, she delivers high-performance strategies for productivity, business growth, and well-being. She has built a thriving community on Instagram and YouTube, and there she shares the practical, results-driven insights for professionals seeking sustainable success. Her first book, How to Master Your Goals, debuted as an Amazon #1 bestseller in adult education, and she has launched her highly anticipated second book, just hot off the press, I hear, which is Discover Your Superpower. A sought-after key speaker, Christiane is known for her dynamic, no-fluff approach to business and success. Her Petite Practice framework empowers entrepreneurs to work smarter, scale faster, and lead with confidence without burnout. So we're going to talk about how you can claim your spotlight, how to rock with courage, consistency. Please welcome my guest, Christiane Schroeter. All right.
Thank you so much.
I am so excited about getting into this today with you. Of course, I love confidence. That's the whole theme of my podcast, but you have such a great background that I love for them to get to know you. First two questions, though, are easy ones, and then we'll get into the meat of the matter. Tell everybody, what part of the country do you live in? Where do you call home right now?
I am actually at my home. So if you watch the video recording of this amazing podcast episode, you'll see the background is my bookshelf in my home office where I work part of my time. So I'm a business coach. And when I'm a business coach, I work from home. I live in California. San Luis Obispo is located between Los Angeles and San Francisco. So California, if you think of this as a long stretched out state, is kind of, we have the cornerstones of San Francisco and Los Angeles, and I'm right in the middle of those two amazing cities.
It's a beautiful area. I've been there many times. That's awesome. So I talked about all these wonderful things that you have accomplished now, but I love for my guests to always share about the journey, that, you know, it really isn't a straight line, that there are obstacles to overcome, challenges that are perhaps opportunities. So please share your story for us.
Yeah, so you can hear from my accent and of course my beautiful last name that I'm actually born in Germany. where I grew up and went to the university as well. I started studying in foods and nutrition, which is really showing my passion for health and wellness, and then discovered that I'm actually much more also interested in the decisions that consumers make in the supermarket. So the economic side of things, like how do pricing and packaging design really factoring into leading consumers, putting that package from the shelf into their grocery cart. So I specialized in health economics, which is just that, how we can combine economic decisions with improving our health,
Mm.
and applied for various programs in the United States to obtain my master's degree. I studied in the Midwest and also earned my PhD in the Midwest from Purdue University.
Mm.
And then from there, moved to the South, where I worked a couple of years teaching economics classes, statistics classes, and then from there moved to California. So I've been in various states, in countries, Europe and United States, and now I really call California my home. And I always encourage people to not think of a certain location as this is the place where you're stuck, you need to be, but rather just keep an
Yeah.
open eye and an open mind, because location has a lot to do with our happiness and our health.
Mm.
And traveling also allows us to maybe explore other cultures and other locations and figure out what you can take home with them, or whether that's maybe even a place where you want to live,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah, for sure. I have interviewed quite a lot of people that are those entrepreneurs that are nomads. So
Mhm.
they don't really, that's why the first question is always tricky because it's their home is, wherever they have their podcast or their camera showing them at that moment. The second question was really insightful, though, that it just shows that you really appreciate um, taking a chance. Coming from another country takes courage, but you consistently work on growing and developing and pushing your boundaries. And so I think it really ties well into what we're going to talk about today. So you created Petite Practice framework that I mentioned. So please, how does it empower female entrepreneurs to take those bold steps in their lives and their businesses?
Oh, beautiful question. So my trademark coaching concept, Petite Practice, is directly, uniquely tied to how I feel we can all step into our superpower and
Mm.
grow our confidence and visibility. Because ultimately, we all have big dreams, but we sometimes think that eventually we're going to tackle those dreams someday. And that
Mm.
could be, after your children are older, after you retire. There's like this time that you set yourself. But I always tell my
Mm.
clients, someday is actually not a day on the calendar. So petite practices really means that you take small, consistent steps to
Mm.
reaching your big goals. And in my opinion, no big goal is ever a bad goal, because if that's your goal, that's you. I always say you do
Mhm.
you. If that's your goal,
Yeah.
awesome, right? Let's figure out, why is this important to you? Why is this something you always wanted to do? And then sometimes people are like, well, I I kind of feel funny saying this. It's like, why? This is you. If this is important to you, let's talk about it. Why is this important to you? And let's talk about it. And you don't need to lower your voice, or you don't need to say this is embarrassing or funny or anything like that. Because by sharing your goal, it's already putting your superpower out there, because it makes me
Mm.
appreciate who you are. And that's exactly what superpower is, that you're sharing with the world your unique skills, your value, and you're really letting us in how
Mm.
amazing you are.
So very true.
So I feel the petite practice is something that's frequently underappreciated, especially for females, because you think of all the different hats and the different roles that we wear during the
Yeah.
day. we sometimes feel putting our own goal on our plate adds another thing that needs to get done, like another list on our very long to-do list. Where in reality, if you start working on your goal, and just like even like maybe 15 or 30 minutes per day, that petite practice is like a small little step, you are actually becoming better in the other areas of your life.
Yeah.
Because think of, let's say, your big goal is you always wanted to, let's just say something like, because I live in California, climb in Yosemite to Half Dome.
Mm.
Right. And you're like, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit, but I always wanted to climb Half Dome. And I'm like, awesome, right? That's great. I like that. And then you're like, well, but I don't have time to practice. I don't have time to get ready for it. And I don't even live in California and who knows what and who knows what, right? And then I'm like, well, but you have children and you are married and you have neighbors and you have friends. You have this whole ecosystem around you. Once you
Yeah.
start sharing your big goal, you can ask them for help, right? So
Right.
if you want to go on a walk or maybe even on a short run to practice your stamina to get ready for that hike, they will be there and they can maybe watch your
Mm.
children. You don't need to do it all. I know that we always think we need to do it all, but in reality, you have people around you who just actually need to become more confident in asking for help, right? And at the same time, because you are working on your goals, you're becoming a role model for your children, for your
That's right.
husband, for your friends, neighbor, your whole ecosystem, that they need to go for their goals too. And you can help
Mhm.
them with that as well. So think about us all helping each other in accomplishing our goals. How beautiful that would be, right?
Yeah,
And
so
it doesn't
beautiful.
need to be that 2025 is when you're actually climbing Half Dome.
Mm.
Maybe it's next year, right? But just getting started with it will already create some happiness in your life because you feel that the goal is not, outside of your reach, but you're doing something to get just a little step closer.
Taking action. And, the finish line is where the finish line is, but it is that consistency towards it.
Yeah,
So,
and beautiful said actually.
so I was just going to say, what are some of, as you coach the folks, what are some of the reactions as they start to see those small wins?
Well, it's sometimes I get the one word that's called humbling.
Yeah, yeah.
They say this is humbling that I want to climb Half Dome, and here I am, taking my first walks, and I'm out of breath. Or I'm
Yes.
trying to run up a staircase, and I'm out of breath. And, I'm like, this is awesome that you're sharing this with me because of course it's humbling. Do you think that any athlete that's competing in the Olympics did not get started from zero? They all did. It's not like they have this innate talent on just being amazing.
Mhm.
Winning is not easy. Winning is
Mhm.
hard. So once you are climbing Half Dome, you know it was really hard to get there. So let's enjoy that hard, that difficult, and really embrace the moment when you're saying this is very humbling. Because guess what? A week from now, you already progressed beyond that hard. Because maybe
Mhm.
instead of doing one push-up per day or going for a 5-minute walk, you're going for a 10-minute walk, and maybe you're doing 10 push-ups. So you
Mhm.
need to embrace that it's hard, but it's going to get easier because it was hard for all of us. And I
Yeah.
always think that we sometimes believe that these people that are the athletes, that are the leaders in the world, just had it easier than us. It really didn't.
No. And you appreciate it so much more knowing that you did do the hard stuff.
Mhm.
If it came easy, it's like it's like if you give your kid a car when they turn 16,
Beautiful.
they won't appreciate that car. They'll
Mhm.
beat it up, and But if you made them work for that car and pay for it themselves, they'll appreciate that car so much more because they did the hard work to achieve it, to reach that goal.
I actually really adore that you say this because I'm a mother of two teenage daughters. And so one of them has her driver's license. And some of her friends did get cars, brand new ones, even, directly
Yeah.
from car dealers' lots. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to purchase you a car, especially not a brand new one. I mean, this is like
Yeah,
economically, does
that's
not
right.
make any sense.
No.
And I said, you're more than welcome to drive our vehicles as time allows. Keep in mind, we both have, businesses and jobs, but you will have to find a job and you will have to figure out how not to only purchase the car, but maintain the car, pay
Yeah.
for the insurance, and in your mind, actually figure out, does it really make economic sense to have a car? Because again, you can use hours, but you have friends, you could use public transportation. Eventually, you want to go to college, you want to
That's
do
right.
social things. Does it really make sense to put a car out there that would just sit in a parking lot somewhere? So I will let you make that decision. And then, you can save your money and you can see where this leads you because
Mhm.
that is
That's
something
right.
that I can only show them the way. But at the end of the day, I need to let them figure that out themselves.
That's exactly right. So I mentioned that you had your podcast had climbed to the top 1%.
Mhm.
And, I have my podcast and I have a lot of episodes out there for the last 3 years, but I'm not in the top 1%. So if you could just share some key lessons that you've learned along the way that maybe would guide myself and other podcasters on how we can get that goal.
Yeah, so I want to anchor that to like my three recommendations here, right? The top one recommendation really is that whatever your platform is that you're coaching, it has to match your podcast, right? So I'm an educator, so my podcast focuses on educating. And that's really like what I feel is my strength. I will always be an educator, I will always be a
Mhm.
professor and a coach. And I think that's the number one thing that we sometimes get confused in. We are like, oh, but I also write books. So I could be in the author category over here. You need to figure out what's your unique value proposition. What's the minimum value proposition, the very, very top thing that you really want to be known for? And I want to be known as being an educator, which is also my award. I'm nominated for the top women's podcasting
Right.
award in the education category. And again, so that's the first thing. You need to figure out the one thing you want to be known
Right.
for. Secondly, and it ties in with number one, is I'm known for my petite practices. So all of my podcast episodes are petite, right? All of them are less than 30 minutes long. Would make any sense for me to have a podcast episode that's
Right.
2 hours long because it's not petite anymore. It's like big.
Yeah.
So
Nobody can concentrate for that long on a podcast.
so you need to think like if you want to be known for that thing, your branding, you need to tie that in with your format, right? So the
Mhm.
first one is the positioning, the second one is the format of your podcast. It's like, do you want more like, a longer one that's conversational? Do you want something shorter? There's a lot of different options, but you just make it the decision at what lines up
Mhm.
with your brand, right?
Right.
And then the third one is also tying in with my petite practice is the consistency. I publish on the dot every other Friday, and I'm
Mhm.
going to keep publishing every other Friday. And sometimes I'm not at home. Like sometimes I'm traveling. So I was in the Midwest and I published on a Friday, or I'm in Europe and I publish on a Friday. Of course, you can schedule your publishing too, but I always make sure
Exactly.
that it actually does get out there. Because if you don't do that, your audience is going to wait for it. It's like a restaurant that just decided they're not going to
Yeah.
open. I mean, you don't want to let your customers stand outside of the door and it's like, sorry, just decide I'm not going to open today. it's making everybody really disappointed because they adore you.
Yeah.
So you need to think a little bit if you want to be successful. The category, the format, and the consistency are
Mm-hmm.
really what works for me. But you need to choose your own because at the end of the day, it's your own superpower. So
Yeah.
tap into this and then figure out what you want to be known for.
Perfect. So let's talk about your book, the new book
Mhm.
you just got today. What's the message and how can listeners apply it to their own lives?
Yeah, so Discover Your Superpower is my latest book. And it was actually fun because I'm going to be at a women's fair on Sunday. So I ordered a few
Um,
copies to have on my desk and on my table at that women's fair and really show it off there and interact with people so they can look through it. And it follows the system of what I call my 3P system. So in my book, I very much feature my own podcast. So I let people experience my podcast in my book with two reasons. A, while I believe, that it's great to listen to me and my story, etc. I also think that the guests I have on my podcasts are incredibly inspiring. So the name of my book, Discover Your Superpower, it can really only be true if I let others share their superpower
mhm.
because you can listen to me, but then you can listen to these other inspiring thought leaders. And maybe there's something that resonates with you, and you're like, oh yeah, I've had that same issue. So I'm a firm believer that we always need to share our network and share our community with others so that they can tap into this as well and invite them in. Like, here, come to my house, meet my friends. So my book is a little bit of like a community builder. So that's the first
Awesome.
P. I share my podcast episodes on there. And then the second P is that people can follow certain steps, right? So it's really like I build it like a tree. We have roots, we are growing the roots, we are building, like the seed, then we are
Yeah.
slowly growing the tree and then the branches, etc. So that's really like how I build your superpower. Frequently, we disregard the roots, where in reality, frequently the roots really shape what our
Right.
superpower is. So I educate through certain concepts, and I'm a very visual learner. And I believe a lot of my students and clients are as well. And then it ties in with the second P, which is I do little power searches, word searches. So after people learn certain concepts, whether that's positioning or what is a niche, what is a value proposition, at the end of each section is always a power search, a word search that then is just like a fun little add-on for
Oh,
those
cool.
visual learners.
So that's good. That keeps it engaging.
Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome.
And then of
Very
course there's
creative.
quizzes in there too. That's the third P,
Oh,
it's personality quizzes. So I think that we sometimes, like sometimes on my podcast, I ask, what's your superpower? And when I ask, people are like, I never thought about this. I never really thought what makes me great. But it's like, well,
mm,
and then they take a personality quiz. And we're actually sharing a personality quiz in
at
this
the end.
episode here today
Mhm.
too. So the podcast, the power search, and the personality quiz is really the heart and soul of my book.
Oh, so awesome. And you'll all get to see how to get that book at the end.
Mhm.
Time has flown by. I can't believe this. Let's see if I can get these last two questions in. The most common challenge that female entrepreneurs face, and how do you help them to overcome these obstacles?
It's actually just one word, confidence. It's always the same, confidence. How do you overcome lack of confidence?
Mm,
Is stop asking others for approval to do things. You just need to do it because the only person you can really control is yourself. You don't need everybody else's approval in doing
mm,
things. And don't ask like, does this look good on me? Is this something I should do? Do you feel that this sounds good when you write something. If you feel it sounds good, go for it. If you feel it looks good on you, go for it, right? If you feel you want to do it, go for it. Because you will figure out that maybe it's not that way. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, this constant like doubts and self-questioning and asking
Yeah.
for approval leads to this like spiral of questioning
Inactivity.
everything and feeling stuck because you're constantly in this loop of like
Mm.
overwhelm. So I
Yeah.
feel just get the confidence and just do it. If you want to go to the grocery store with your jogging pants and your slippers, just do it. Nobody is probably
Yeah.
going to even notice it, right?
Trust
So
me. You see it
just do it.
every day anyway. Just
Yeah,
add to
do
the
it.
crowd. Whenever I get asked that question, because, confidence, building confidence is my platform too. And I just say confidence, the first step is courage. And just as you said, just do it. Have the courage to do it. If it fails, it's a lesson. And so it's a win-win because you've learned from that.
Mhm. Yeah.
This
Fail
fun.
stands for first attempt in learning.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And then the last question is, you just finished a book. What's next for you?
TEDx. I'm going to be a TEDx speaker. So speaking about
Awesome.
courage and confidence and getting yourself out there, that's what I'm really excited about in preparing my talk now and sharing the concept of Petite Practice on a stage in California, having a lot of my students come to that event and my clients. So I taught over 10,000 students and I'm really excited. For me, it's like giving back to the community
Yeah.
and how they shaped me professionally, but also how I have changed my own coaching based on, like my own superpower. So I'm
Hmm.
really excited about it.
That is exciting. Well, I wish you all the best. I know you'll do awesome. All right, it's time now for me to share my slides. So if you are just listening, you know that you can go to my YouTube channel, Vicki Noethling. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And you also can get this from my findyourleadershipconfidence.com website. All right, so the website is Dr. Christiane.com. That's DoctorChristiane.com. LinkedIn's the same, Christiane Schroeter. Facebook is Dr. Christiane. Instagram, same. Pinterest, same. You just got to love her. Send her thank you notes for having the same handles. YouTube is at Dr. Christiane. Threads is the same. And reminder, don't forget to subscribe to Happy Healthy Hustle. Again, that's her podcast, Happy Healthy Hustle. I'm going to turn it over to Christiane. She's going to talk to you about what you can find on her website, as well as how you can get that personality quiz. Christiane,
Yeah,
it's all yours.
yeah, the personality quiz is called Discover Your Superpower. So after you take it, you'll get a little scorecard that shows where you rank in knowing how much you align with your superpower. Because, of course, if you tap into your own superpower, you're really going to create momentum and you can maybe use that momentum to reach your big goals.
And what else could they find on your website?
Well, it's absolutely packed with my best goodies, so to speak, because I have all my books there. So you can find my 3 books, links to my Amazon store, where I also share various business and wellness resources. And then, of course, all my podcast episodes. You can tune into those and listen to the Happy Healthy Hustle, which has these less than 30-minute quick little motivational words of wisdom and these amazing guests. And then lastly, of course, if you want to book me to speak on your podcast or be a speaker at your event, it also has a press kit there with pictures and downloadable resources. You can book me for your next event, and I would love to be there.
Awesome. Christiane, thank you so much for being a great guest. I knew it would be a wonderful conversation. You shared so many great tips and advice for people. And thank you also for sharing your story. That's always inspirational.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. As always, I remind everyone that life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling, signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.